So I wanted to take a moment and talk about the M3GAN franchise because I really like M3GAN. I saw M3GAN a few years ago, back in 2023, I believe, when the very first movie came out, and I personally enjoyed it. I understand there's going to be some people out there that don't really care about the franchise as much, which is perfectly fine because at the end of the day, there's going to be people that like things and there's going to be people that don't like things. But me personally, as I just said, I really do like the franchise when it comes to the two films so far within the series. And I just basically want to talk about exactly why I enjoy M3GAN and everything. And I'm hoping by me putting out this video, I happen to attract other M3GAN fans as well, because I would absolutely love to talk more about the series with you guys. When it comes to the M3GAN franchise, I feel like the first thing I gotta say right away is that I already know this isn't something everybody is going to like. And I completely understand that because I've seen the way people talk about these movies, and some people just don't take them seriously at all. Like, they look at it and just think it's dumb or not worth their time, and honestly that's fine because not everything is going to hit the same for everyone, and I'm not really here trying to convince anybody to change their mind on that. At the same time though, just because something isn't for everybody doesn't mean it can't still be enjoyable for certain people. And that's basically where I fall when it comes to this franchise, because when I watch these movies, I'm not going into it expecting something super deep or anything like that. I'm just going in trying to have a good time with it, and for me personally, that's exactly what I got out of it every time I sit down and watch it. And I think that's something that doesn't really get talked about enough sometimes, because people always feel like a movie has to be this super serious, perfectly written thing in order for it to be good. But that's not always the case, because sometimes it really just comes down to whether or not you enjoyed what you were watching, and for me, that's what matters the most when it comes to something like this. So right from the start, I just wanted to make it clear where I stand with all this, because I'm not coming at this from a place of trying to defend the franchise like it's perfect or anything like that. I'm just speaking from my own experience, and from my point of view, I've actually had a really fun time with these movies, and that's really what made me want to talk about it in the first place. And one of the biggest reasons why I ended up liking this franchise as much as I do is because M3GAN gives me the same kind of energy I used to get watching Child's Play. Because when you really look at it, she kind of feels like a modern version of Chucky, just in a completely different way that fits today's world a lot more. Like, back then you had Chucky running around, causing chaos, doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and that's what made those movies so entertaining to watch, because you never really knew what he was going to do next. And I feel like M3GAN taps into that same energy, but instead of it being a possessed doll, now you're dealing with AI, which honestly makes it feel even more relevant with everything going on today. And I think that's what makes her stand out, because she's not just doing things randomly. There's actually logic behind what she does, even if it ends up going too far. And that's where things start to get interesting, because now you're not just watching chaos for the sake of it. You're watching something that's learning and adapting as it goes, and that adds a completely different layer to it. So when I say that she reminds me of Chucky, I don't mean it in a way where she's copying him or anything like that. It's more about the feeling you get watching it, because it brings back that same kind of entertainment value, just done in a way that fits a newer generation, and that's honestly something I really appreciate about the franchise. When you look back at the very first M3GAN movie, I feel like it actually does a really good job of setting everything up, especially when it comes to M3GAN herself and her relationship with Katie, because that's really where everything starts, and that connection is what drives a lot of what happens throughout the film. You get to see how she's introduced, how she's meant to function, and how things slowly start to shift over time. And I like how it doesn't just jump straight into chaos right away. It actually builds up to that point, so when things do start to go wrong, it feels like a natural progression instead of something that just happens out of nowhere. And then once you get closer to the end of the movie, that's when everything really starts to go off the rails, and you just see how far things can go when something like this is left unchecked. And that's where the horror aspect really kicks in, because now it's not just about what she is, it's about what she's capable of doing. So overall, I feel like the first movie does exactly what it needs to do, because it introduces you to the character, builds up the world around her, and leaves you with a clear understanding of why everything plays out the way that it does, and that's what makes it such a strong starting point for the rest of the franchise. Now, when it comes to the sequel, I think this is where things get a little bit more interesting, because instead of just repeating what the first movie did, it actually goes in a completely different direction, and that's something I ended up enjoying way more than I thought I would. Like, instead of just leaning fully into horror again, it starts to feel more like a thriller, and you even get some action elements mixed in there, especially when you see M3GAN going around dealing with different threats, and seeing her in that kind of role was actually really fun to watch. And at the same time, you also get to see a different side of her, because now she has a better understanding of things compared to before. And that makes sense when you think about it, because at the end of the day, she is AI, so the more that she experiences, the more she's going to learn, and that naturally changes how she acts moving forward. So even though I know this shift in tone might not work for everybody, for me personally, I actually liked it, because it made the sequel feel different instead of just doing the same movie all over again, and it showed that they're willing to take the character in new directions. At the end of the day, though, there are only 2 movies in the M3GAN franchise right now. I can honestly say that I enjoyed both of them for what they are, and that alone is enough to keep me interested in seeing where things go next. If they end up making a 3rd movie, I'm definitely going to be there to watch it, because at this point, I'm already invested in the character and the direction that they've been taking things, and I just want to see how far they can push it moving forward. And again, I know not everybody is going to feel the same way about this franchise, and that's completely fine, because like I said earlier, not everything is meant for everyone, but for me personally, this is something I've had a good time with, and that's really what matters to me. So yeah, when it comes to M3GAN, I'm a fan of what they've been doing so far. I've enjoyed the ride, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they decide to do next with the series, because if they keep doing things the way that they are, I feel like there's still a lot of potential there. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to talk about within this video itself, is just, you know, sitting down talking about the M3GAN franchise, because on the main channel, I did make a video talking about M3GAN. I made several videos talking about M3GAN on the main channel. But since removing all of that content over here, I just wanted to just capture my thoughts again when it comes to the M3GAN franchise and why I personally like it. So if there happens to be other people that like the M3GAN franchise out there, let me know. Which honestly leads me to my next question. How do you guys feel about the M3GAN franchise? Is there certain things about the franchise that really drew you in, or are you just someone that doesn't really care about it as much as other people, which is perfectly fine? Let me know in the comments. We could talk about it, of course. And if you guys enjoy this video, as always, be sure to like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. If you guys want to follow me on my social media, be sure to check out my X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. All the links are located in the description below, so be sure to follow me on there. Also, be sure to check out my Discord server. It is pinned in the comments. We could talk about all the things that we love. Be sure to click on that bell for notifications so you guys are notified whenever I'm dropping a new video on the channel. I hope all the guys are having a fantastic day, wherever the day may be, if it's the daytime, the nighttime, or the evening. And I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.